Showers in excess of 150 millimeters across several provinces tonight. Warning from the Met Department. 6 lives lost to floods and landslides. Over 20,000 people affected. Water level of the Kaluganga reaches major flood situation. Water levels of main rivers including the Mahaveli and Kalani on the rise too. Code red landslide warning issued for 15 administrative divisions in 5 districts. Landslide warnings for 11 districts. Swiftly provide assistance to those affected by inclement weather. Orders from the President. Government takes steps to declare fertilizer as an essential good.
Well, good evening. This is your primetime news bulletin. We are coming to you live from the newsroom weather center. I'm Shayan Rampati. Well, floods and landslides are being reported from several districts across the country in light of the incessant rains experienced over the past couple of days. Now, according to the latest reports, 6 deaths have been reported from across the country caused by various weather-related accidents. And now, according to our latest reports, the Disaster Management Center says a flood situation has developed in the Ging River from the Tavalama and Badegama areas. Now, its Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Center, Pradeep Kodipalli, said the water levels of the Kalani River and the Kaluganga have also developed to flood water levels. Now, according to our correspondent, the Udugama Gaul Main Road, reporting on the Udugama Gaul Main Road, flood levels have risen there considerably, and if you look at the footage that we're airing on your screens right now, water levels have reached knee height. Now, according to correspondent, as you can see, people are using boat as a mode of transport to get from point A to point B. Now, authorities have been dispatched to assist with the people. Our correspondent says once again that these footage you're seeing right now are along the Udugama Gaul Main Road, and the water levels have reached knee level. Now, just to look back at the situation across the country, over 20,000 people are affected across 12 districts due to the adverse weather, 7,742 people in the Gaul district. Now, in light of the series of events that have transpired over the past couple of days, Newsfirst have taken matters upon themselves to assist in relief activities, so on and so forth. And in the studio today, I'm joined by Nidra Veerasinghe, the Group Director of Capital Maharaja Organization Limited. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, like I said before, Newsfirst, in light of the series of events, Newsfirst, MTV, MBC have taken matters upon themselves to launch the Sahanayatra program once again to assisting the people. Could you explain what is happening here?
Yes, actually the chairman and the management of the Capital Maharaja organization have decided to immediately commence the Sirasa Shakti Newsfirst Sahanayatra, given that over 20,000 people have been affected and the weather conditions are not improving, they are only worsening. Therefore, there are 2 points I would like to stress on. One is that several of these relief efforts that we've had over the past 20 years have been possible with the help of the general public. Your generosity and kindness is what has made this a success in reaching the most needy. And also this time I would like to appeal to the general public. Our collection center is open here at our Newsfirst headquarters at Braybrook Place, and tomorrow morning at Stein Studios and the Panama complex there will be 2 more collection centers open. So I would like to appeal to you to please assist us, to please join us in helping our fellow Sri Lankans. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nidra Veerasinghe, the Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited. Well, to further elaborate on what Nidra Veerasinghe said, the items that we are collecting here at the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited head office at Ratmalana and in the Panama are rice, dal, sugar, tea, noodles, canned fish, biscuits, water and sanitary items. Those items once again that we are collecting here at Braybrook Place, 45/3 Braybrook Place, Colombo 2, Ratmalana and the Depanama Studio Complex are rice, dal, sugar, tea, noodles, milk powder, canned fish, biscuits, water and sanitary items. So as Nidra Veerasinghe did say, our collecting centers are open at the moment, and you can hand in your items to be distributed to the locations which have been affected severely by the adverse weather conditions across the country. These are solely for the benefit of our fellow Sri Lankans, so please be a part of this initiative. Moving back on to the situation across the country, as mentioned before, over 20,000 people of 3,438 families have been affected across 12 districts in the islands due to the adverse weather conditions. Now, the Disaster Management Centre said the highest number of people affected were from the Galle district, with the number standing at 7,742. Now, the Disaster Management Centre did go on to say that the death toll due to the adverse weather has risen to 6 during a span of a week. Now, it added 4 of these 6 deaths were caused by lightning-related accidents. Now, the Met Department has requested the general public to take adequate precautions to avoid and minimize such accidents from taking place. Now, moving on to further up country, the Nuwara district, 60 people of 52 families in the Nuwara Divisional Secretariat have been affected by the adverse weather conditions. Now, the Disaster Management Centre previously did issue a flood warning for those living along the banks of the Kalani River from Hangwalla to Colombo, and the residents have been advised to evacuate to safer locations. Now, Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipli, said the water levels of the Kalani River is continuing to rise due to persistent showers. Previously, the Department of Irrigation also issued an announcement saying the water levels of the Mahabeli and Ging rivers, as well as the Mahaoya and Attanagalu Oya, are also rising rapidly. Director of Hydrology at the department, Mala Alawatugoda, said the water levels of the Kaluganga have increased from a minor flood situation to a major flood situation. That item again, Director of Hydrology at the Department of Irrigation, Mala Alawatugoda, says that the water levels of the Kaluganga have risen from a minor flood level to a major flood level, thereby requesting those living on the banks of these rivers to remain much cautioned to avoid any casualties. Now, she did say the flood waters in the Millakanda area are expected to rise further as heavy rains continue. Now, the residents of Kalutara, Dodangoda, Millania, Maduravala, Horana, Bulat Singhala, Ingiria, Palinda Nuwara, Kirialla, Kurubita, Alapata and Ratnapura along the Kaluganga have been warned to take precautionary measures to protect themselves from sudden floods. Now, taking a look at the stories from Kegol in isolated incidents, a 43-year-old male was killed in the 76-acre area in the Udugoda and Bulat Kohuputia of the Bulat Kohuputia Divisional Secretariat area in the Kegol district when an earth embankment collapsed onto a house. Now, vehicle movement on the Bulat Kohuputia Kegol 821 road was hampered as well after a tree collapsed onto a high voltage power line on the road. Now, measures were taken by locals in the area and the police to restore normalcy along the road to ensure that vehicular movement continues smoothly. Now, the National Building Research Organization also issued an advisory saying a red landslide warning, a code red landslide warning for 15 divisional secretariat areas in the Ratnapura, Galle, Kegol, Kalutara and Kandy districts have been issued. Now, the senior geologist at the organization, Garmin Jaitis, has said landslide warnings have been issued to 11 districts for the next 24 hours since 4 p.m. this evening. Now, another situation report, 25 families in the Ganegoda area in the Bulat Kohupitia Divisional Secretariat area were evacuated due to the high risk of landslides. Now, the evacuees were relocated to the Ganegoda Community Hall. In another incident, the bunt of the Battalu Oyama Elia Vava in Chilau broke away today, and villagers were rescued who were affected by the overflow of water were rescued by personnel of the Disaster Management Centre and the Sri Lanka Navy. Also, in Chilau, the Chilau-Putlam main road as well as the Colombo-Putlam railway line were also underwater caused by the incessant rains over the past couple of days. Now, the Ratnapura town and several low-lying areas around it have also been inundated due to the adverse weather conditions, and according to our reporters, several people are moving out of the areas to avoid any damage. Now, of course, the people in Ratnapura are quite used to such situations due to the past experience they've had over the couple of years. Now, according to correspondent, 2 spill gates of the Lakshapan Reservoir and 4 spill gates of the Upper Kotmale Reservoir have also been opened, and 7 spill gates of the Pologula Reservoir in Kandy have been opened. Then, duty engineer of the Pologula Reservoir at the Mahabeli Authority, Atula Pushpakumara, said around 23,200 cubic feet of water is being released per second to the Victoria Reservoir. Now, several low-lying areas in Pannala are also flooded as a result of the Maoya reaching spill level. The Met Department issuing its weather forecast says 150 millimeters of heavy rainfall can be expected tonight in the central, Sabaragamu, western and northwestern provinces, as well as in the Galle and Mathura districts. Now, to assist in the rescue operations and to assist the general public in avoiding any damage and avoiding any casualties, the forces, the military and security forces are on high alert as 9 army teams consisting of 125 soldiers have been dispatched to the Kalutura, Gaul, Mathura and Ratnapura districts, which are at high risk of flooding. Now, Army Media spokesperson Brigadier Sumik Atapattu said the teams are equipped with boats and other life-saving equipment. And as for the Sri Lanka Navy, 27 Navy teams have also been dispatched to the Gaul, Kalutura, Kurunegala and Putlam districts as part of their relief efforts. Navy Media spokesperson Commander Dinesh Bandara said all personnel at bases across the country have been placed on standby to be deployed if the need arises. Now, the Sri Lanka Air Force have also got in the action, saying helicopters and personnel are on standby to assist in emergency evacuations to provide relief to those affected. Now, the police also have established several disaster operation centers across the country in police divisions. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said 44 teams of 210 police life-saving personnel have been assigned at selected police stations. Now, also one of the reports that we received earlier in the day was steps were being taken to evacuate residents of Sitawaka, Kaduela and Kolonnawa along the banks of the Kalin River due to the rising water levels of the river and the danger of flooding. Now, Colombo District Secretary Sunil Kandangara said residents are being directed to shelters and safe locations. Kandangara added that as of 6 p.m. today, more than 200 families had been evacuated from these areas. That item, once again, just another announcement. Steps were being taken to evacuate residents of Sitawaka, Kaduela and Kolonnawa along the banks of the Kalin River due to the rising water levels of the river and danger of flooding. Now, Colombo District Secretary Sunil Kandangara said residents are being directed to shelters and safe locations. Kandangara added that as of 6 p.m. today, more than 200 families had been evacuated from these areas. In another item, one lane of the Alawa Kurunegala main road close to the Maoya was temporarily closed earlier this evening. Now, the police said a kilometer of the road from Alawa had multiple cracks on the road, causing the police to close one lane of the road and direct vehicular movement along just one lane of the road. Now, just a news item once again earlier, as you mentioned, the Disaster Management Center did say the situation, flood situation has developed in the Ging River from the Tawalama and Baddegama areas. Its Assistant Director Pradeep Kodibli said the water levels of the Kalin River and Kaluganga have also developed to flood levels. Now, we will join Nicola De Zoisa at the newsroom to give us the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Nicola, what do you have for us, Nicola?
Thank you, Shaheen. Welcome to the newsroom. Now, if I can just direct your attention towards the visuals behind me. The green color indicates the high level of precipitation that's prevalent over the island at present. The Met Department is forecasting heavy showers in excess of 150 millimeters. Now, the heavy showers are expected in the central, Sabaragamuwa, western and northwestern provinces and the Gaul and Mathura districts tonight. The heavy showers have caused water levels of the Kaluganga to rise to what the Disaster Management Center calls a major flood situation, while water levels of other major rivers are also on the rise. Code red landslide warnings, the highest landslide warning level, have been issued for 15 administrative divisions in the Ratnapura, Kegaul, Gaul, Kaluthara as well as the Kandy districts. Back to you.
Well, just a recap of what happened throughout the country. Over 20,000 people of 3,438 families have been affected due to the inclement weather conditions across the country over the past couple of days. 6 deaths have been reported so far. 4 of the deaths were caused by lightning-related accidents. Now, the Disaster Management Center did go on to say that the death toll did rise to 6 today, and that 7,742 people have been reported to be affected from the Gaul district, which is incidentally the highest report of victims in the country. In the Newra district, 260 people of 52 families in the Newra area divisional secretariat have been affected by the adverse weather. Now, the Disaster Management Center has issued a flood warning for those living along the banks of the Kalin River from Hangwala to Colombo, and residents have been advised to evacuate from these areas. Now, just to look back at what the initiative has been undertaken here, now, considering the number of displaced persons at this point, the vast areas affected and the imminent danger residents of many districts are in, in, News First, MTV and MBC have decided to launch the Sahana Yatra relief effort. Now, we will be collecting specific dry rations to be delivered to impacted areas starting tonight at our head office in Colombo at 45/3 Braeburn Place, Colombo 2. Now, just to repeat once again, the items that are being collected at 3 different locations starting from tonight, the Colombo head office here at Braeburn Place, Colombo 2, Ratmalana and Depanama are rice, dal, sugar, tea, milk powder, noodles, canned fish, biscuits, water, sanitary items. Once again, those items are rice, dal, sugar, tea, milk powder, noodles, canned fish, biscuits, water and sanitary items. Do remember, it is your contribution and your support that will make a difference in assisting our fellow Sri Lankans to come out of these difficult times at the time of need. Well, now I'll cross over back to the news studio. Sandaru, it's back to you.
Thank you, Shaheen. Continuing in more local news, in fact, a story that made it the headlines today. Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, speaking at a media briefing this morning, announced that fertilizer will be made an essential item.
The paddy farmer receives fertilizer at 500 rupees. Other farmers receive the required fertilizer from the private sector. There were reports of delays when the fertilizer was being distributed. We obtained permission from the cabinet and granted permission to the Ceylon Fertilizer Company to sell the fertilizer. We will provide fertilizer at 1,500 rupees. Their fertilizer is being sold at higher prices than that. Thereby, we have decided to consider fertilizer as an essential item. The gazette in this regard will be issued. We ask that if there are places where fertilizer is being sold at higher prices, inform the Consumer Affairs Authority regarding this. We will take legal action against such vendors. We ask the companies that sell fertilizer to cancel the permits granted to these agents who sell fertilizer at higher prices.
The minister expressed views regarding the agrarian insurance scheme as well.
1,350 rupees was obtained from the farmers as the agrarian insurance. The government has decided to bear that cost completely. Now the government will not charge any amount. We will provide the farmers with 40,000 rupees as an insurance payment for 1 acre. The program will commence from this harvesting season and will be for 6 crops: paddy, corn, soya beans, potatoes, big onions and chilies. These farmers will be protected by this insurance. We request that you farm without any fear.
The government is damaged. They have obtained too many loans. There is a crisis within the government. They are giving out false promises to cover the crisis that they are facing. Whatever Minister Mahinda Amaravira has to say, the farmer is now helpless. The farmer does not have the fertilizer now. You cannot find the fertilizer for 1,500 rupees. Paddy farmer does not get the fertilizer on time. The farmer does not believe that these promises laid out by the government will be realized. Do not give false promises and deceive the farmers. You have trapped the country in a massive debt burden. This government cannot continue to deceive the people of this country.
Minister of Irrigation and Water Resource Management and Disaster Management, Duminda Disanayake, undertook an inspection tour of the government-owned warehouse in Orugodawata today.
Minister Duminda Disanayake was accompanied by a group of ministry officials to inspect the warehouse, which belongs to the Disaster Management Centre. Whenever disaster strikes, everyone, including the media, expects us to provide relief and relocate those affected to safer areas. But we have to change this mindset now. We have to now think about how we can minimize damage before disaster strikes, which is why we have declared the next 2 weeks starting today as a disaster preparedness program. Under this program, we intend to reach out to all disaster-prone areas and create awareness among people in every divisional secretariat and Gramanilidari division. We will educate them on how we can clean up the drains in our own homes and village roads, which could minimize the damages by at least 50%. The minister also spoke on the prevailing disaster situation in the country. Boats, the required amount of funds and equipment have been sent to the areas which are at high risk of disasters. All measures have been taken to dispatch support staff, the Army and Navy to assist the rescue operations.
The The Provincial Steering Committee meeting of the Grama Shakti People's Movement, which aims to eliminate poverty by 2020, covering 5,000 Grama Niladari divisions, was held in the Uva province today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The progress review meeting for the Uva province was held this morning at the Badulla Library Auditorium. The meeting, which was attended by political representatives as well as state officials, focused primarily on the issues faced by the people in the province, while the President instructed the officials on the quick solutions that could be provided to some of the issues which were raised. President Sirisena also issued instructions for the closed-down bag factory in the Koskanuwela Grama Niladari division or the Valimanda Divisional Secretariat in the Badulla district to be quickly implemented under the Grama Shakti People's Movement. The head of state instructed the authorities to take all necessary measures to provide quick relief to those affected by the prevailing heavy rains. President Maithripala Sirisena also awarded the first tranche of government funds under the Grama Shakti People's Movement for the Badulla and Monoragala districts. A sum of 22.5 million rupees was provided for the Badulla district, while a sum of 16.5 million rupees was given for the Monoragala district. The Grama Shakti program is primarily a national program that assists people to rise by themselves and lift themselves up with independence. This is being implemented as a national sustainable development program. This has already been implemented in selected villages. This program is being undertaken based on the facts and statistics, disregarding politics and other divisions, with the primary intention of eradicating poverty. I will ask all ministers and public officials to carry this forward in this spirit. The Grama Shakti People's Movement, which primarily aims to eliminate poverty, was launched as per a concept of President Maithripala Sirisena. Under Phase 1, 1,000 underprivileged Grama Niladari divisions have been selected for a pilot project.
Politicians, bureaucrats, professionals and trade unions all have a platform from which to express their views and influence the direction of the country. But what about the people of Sri Lanka?
It is with this purpose in mind that News First introduced the People's Mic, a platform from which the people can share their views on the development of the country.
The People's Mic.
Politics in our country has no empathy for the people. Everything is done for their self-interest. Except for us, no one sees the suffering of the innocent people.
We can't simply complain that what everyone is doing is wrong. We must all come together and embark on one journey. There are wrongs, but we cannot right all the wrongs at once.
I am not scolding the government, but some justice must be done for the poor. The price of everything is increasing and the number of thieves is also increasing. Whenever the economy grows, the number of thieves increase. Public officials are stealing, bank officials are stealing, the politicians are stealing, and they're all accusing each other of stealing. This won't do. We need a good system by which to catch the thieves. That is the main issue. When you have rats at home, it is pointless to call the police or the CID. You put out some rat poison and that's the end of it. These people are yet to comprehend that this is what is needed. Whether you go to the market or anywhere else, you can see that the people are under severe pressure. The government must think about this and initiate a program that serves the people.
People do not have jobs even though they have degrees. Many are living on the street. The doctors and engineers come through the campus amounting for about 20%, but there are no jobs for the rest. A patient can't afford to get treated. The biggest problem today is the cost of living. There is no war anymore. Just because Mahinda incurred massive debts and left, that does not mean the current government should steal money from us.
The People's Mic.
The Mayor of Colombo, Rosie Senanayake, visited the Borella supermarket complex on an inspection tour today to make inquiries into the failure to make use of the building, which was previously renovated but not maintained.
This is the current state of the Borella supermarket, which was built in 1982 at a cost of 21.1 million rupees. A delegation led by Mayor toured the premises today, and a decision is to be made soon on the future of this complex.
The public supermarket in Borella falls under the metro project of the Megapolis Ministry. During the visit, it was mentioned that this would be one of the locations on that project. While walking through here, I realized the hardship suffered by the vendors here. We have spoken to the Prime Minister about engaging the private sector as well to renovate and relocate the Borella public supermarket. Of the 377 shops here, only 199 are in operation. Of the 199 too, very few shops are busy because of the lack of facilities. Consumers also do not wish to enter this supermarket. When a new supermarket complex is built, priority will be given to the 199 vendors who are already here.
The Surabinagar model village, constructed under the Uda Gammana program in Ittawil, Pachilepalli in the Kilinoch district, was declared open today by the Deputy Leader of the UNP and Minister of Housing and Construction, Sajith Premadasa.
This is the 69th model village to be declared open under the Samata Sevana Yalipibidana Uda Gammana program. The village of Surabinagar comprises of 25 homes built at a cost of 39.3 million rupees. Deeds were presented to the new homeowners today, while concessionary housing loans were also gifted to 400 low-income families. Minister Sajith Premadasa also presented equipment to the self-employed and spectacles for 35 visually impaired people at this event.
It is my hope to initiate 2,500 such villagers across the country by the 31st of December 2019. When we tell the story, our opponents especially are full of criticism. They say this cannot be done. I say that if you have the strength, the will and the commitment, then commencing 2,500 Uda Gammana villages by the 31st of December next year is not a big task. Protecting human rights and the violation of human rights are phrases that we constantly hear in the political dictionary today. The violation of human rights and defending human rights have become a political campaign slogan for many people today. I say to you today that I come to Kilinochi in order to restore a human right that you have been hitherto deprived of.
Issuing a release today, Sri Lanka Cricket announced that 4 candidates handed in their nominations for the post of president at the upcoming SLC elections.
Tilanga Sumudipala, Jayant Dharmadasa, Mohan De Silva and Nishant Ranatunga handed in their nominations for the post of president. Shami Silva, Bandru Disanayaka, Hiranta Pereira, Mohan De Silva and Nishant Ranatunga submitted their nominations for the post of secretary. Shami Silva, Bandru Disanayaka and Eastman Narangoda handed in their nominations for the post of SLC treasurer.
10 candidates handed in their nominations for the posts of vice president, assistant secretary and assistant treasurer. Well, that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Do take care and good night.